Imagine waking up every morning feeling stuck, like you're trapped in a life designed by others, not by your own hand. You try to break free, but something invisible holds you back. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Most men live in quiet desperation, weighed down by fear, guilt, and the endless chase for approval. It's exhausting. And worse, society keeps pushing you to play it safe, to settle for comfort rather than greatness. What if I told you that this isn't just a personal failing? Nietzsche, one of the most radical thinkers in history, predicted this exact outcome. Most people will stay mediocre because they choose safety over growth. It's a brutal truth nobody wants to admit, but it's the key to understanding why so many lives go unlived. Every day you delay stepping into discomfort, you're losing power, slowly, silently. This video will pull back the curtain on the invisible forces chaining you to mediocrity. Those mental prisons built from societal pressure, your own fears, and self-imposed limits. You'll discover how your willpower isn't just about motivation, but about a radical will to power, a fierce inner discipline that Nietzsche believed is the path out of the herd. We'll unpack why quiet, relentless discipline beats flashy efforts, and how society actually wants to keep you weak. But this isn't just philosophy for the sake of thinking. It's a call to arms, a roadmap to transform pain into strength, isolation into mastery, and complacency into relentless growth. By the end, you'll see what true power looks like, born in silence, forged in struggle, and maintained through reflection. You'll face the question, will you stay trapped in comfort, or will you break the chains and rise? If you're ready to stop living half-measured and start owning your power, keep watching. This is a truth few dare to share, and it could change everything. Why playing it safe guarantees mediocrity? Most people settle into comfort like it's a warm blanket on a cold night. But that blanket? It's actually a cage. Nietzsche wasn't gentle when he said most men choose safety over growth. It's human nature to avoid pain, failure, and rejection. But here's the brutal truth. This instinct to play it safe seals the door to greatness. Imagine a man who refuses to take risks, sticking to what's predictable, even if it means settling for a life that feels dull, unfulfilled, and ordinary. How long can you stay trapped in this cage before you forget what freedom even looks like? Think about the office worker who refuses to speak up in meetings, fearing criticism more than stagnation. Or the guy who avoids going after a promotion because it's safer to keep what he has. These aren't just small fears, they're silent chains tightening every day. The cost? Lost potential, a shrinking spirit, and the slow death of ambition. Playing it safe might keep discomfort away, but it also guarantees that mediocrity becomes your identity. Are you comfortable enough with that? Safety feels like peace, but it's often just avoidance dressed in a nicer suit. When was the last time you genuinely pushed yourself out of your comfort zone? Nietzsche's call to action isn't about reckless risk-taking. It's about embracing the discomfort that leads to growth. Without pain, there's no transformation. Picture a man at a crossroads, choosing between the easy path that keeps him invisible and the hard road where he's forced to face rejection, fear, and failure. Which path are you on? Here's a sharp reminder: comfort kills ambition. It's like a slow poison, numbing your senses and blurring your vision. Those who cling to comfort can't see the horizon clearly. They're stuck looking at their own feet. But the world doesn't reward safety, it rewards courage. The ones who dare to step into the unknown, who risk embarrassment or failure, are the ones who break free from the herd. So what's really stopping you? It's easy to convince yourself that safety equals stability, but Nietzsche would call that a lie we tell ourselves to avoid discomfort. Mediocrity is the price of comfort, quiet, invisible, and deadly. A man who settles for comfort might think he's found peace, but deep down, there's a gnawing emptiness. That voice whispers, "You're meant for more." Are you listening, or are you too busy rearranging your safety net? If you want to break out, you need to confront your fears head-on. This isn't just about physical danger, it's about emotional and psychological risk. It's about standing up to societal pressure to conform and choosing your own path, even if it means stumbling. Imagine someone who dares to express unpopular opinions at work or tries a new project despite fear of failure. These small acts of rebellion chip away at mediocrity's prison walls. But will you make those first moves? Now consider this. How many times have you let the fear of looking foolish stop you from trying? How often has the idea of rejection felt heavier than the possibility of success? Nietzsche's prediction wasn't meant to scare you, it was a warning. Most will never break free because they refuse to risk losing what little they have. But you? You're watching this because part of you knows there's something more. The question is, will you take the leap or stay safely trapped? The next step reveals what's really holding you back, the invisible chains that no one talks about. The psychological prison of comfort and conformity. It's easy to think comfort is just a physical thing, a nice home, steady paycheck, or familiar routine. But the real prison is mental. Society builds invisible walls around us with expectations, norms, and the relentless need to fit in. Nietzsche called this the herd mentality. Jung would point to the shadow, those hidden parts of ourselves we refuse to face. Together, they trap men inside an invisible cage where anxiety, guilt, and the hunger for approval keep ambition shackled. Ever wonder why it feels exhausting just to be yourself sometimes? Picture a man who wants to speak his truth but holds back because he fears judgment from family, co-workers, or friends. That fear isn't just in his head, it's a force, pressing him down every day. The guilt of stepping out of line, the anxiety of standing alone, it's a storm that keeps him stuck. This psychological prison is so subtle, many don't even realize they're locked inside. And the worst part, they blame themselves for feeling trapped, adding layers of self-imposed chains. In today's world, social media is a perfect example of this. People curate their lives to meet invisible standards. The pressure to like, conform, and not rock the boat isn't just about popularity, it's survival in the herd. A man scrolling through endless highlights feels his own life shrink in comparison, questioning his worth. He's caught in the cycle, craving approval but hating the mask he must wear. How many people are you really showing your true self to, and how many are just echoes of what you think they want? Now consider anxiety and guilt, two silent saboteurs. Anxiety whispers, "What if you fail?" While guilt screams, "You're selfish for wanting more." These feelings aren't accidental. They're cultivated by the herd to keep you in line. Jung's shadow work teaches us that these inner voices are parts of ourselves that need facing, not fleeing. The moment a man stops running from these feelings is the moment he starts breaking free. But facing your shadow means wrestling with uncomfortable truths about yourself. Are you ready for that fight? This pressure to conform isn't just external. It becomes internalized, shaping your identity. Many men carry invisible scars from years of trying to be good enough. The workplace, family, even friendships become arenas of subtle control, where being different feels dangerous. One wrong move, and you risk losing acceptance, respect, or even love. It's no wonder so many settle for mediocrity. It feels safer than rejection. But safety in conformity is just another form of slow suffocation. The paradox is painful. The more you seek approval, the less you become yourself. And the less you are yourself, the more that gnawing dissatisfaction grows. It's a vicious cycle. You might find yourself lying awake at night asking, "Who am I really? Or what if this isn't all there is?" Nietzsche's brutal insight reveals this to be the fate of the herd, living lives dictated by others, missing their own power. The question is, how long will you live this shadow life? Breaking out of this psychological prison requires fierce honesty. It means choosing to be disliked rather than lost, to be lonely rather than invisible. Practical steps like journaling your true feelings, setting boundaries with toxic influences, or even therapy can start unraveling these chains. The goal isn't to rebel wildly, but to build internal strength, owning your shadow instead of running from it. But once you see the herd's hold on your mind, can you ever go back to being just another follower? What's holding you back isn't just fear of failure, it's the fear of losing your place in the herd. The next step demands tapping into something deeper, Nietzsche's will to power, a radical force that transforms this prison into a playground. But that transformation won't happen until you're willing to fight the invisible war within. So, are you ready to uncover the brutal truth about your own will? The brutal truth about willpower and the will to power. Most people think willpower is about sheer force, a muscle you flex until you get what you want. Nietzsche throws that idea out the window. His will to power isn't just stubbornness or willful effort. It's a radical, deep-rooted drive to overcome yourself and the limits imposed by society. It's not about beating others. It's about mastering the self in a way that most never dare to attempt. Imagine willpower as a constant battle against your own weaknesses, fears, and excuses, fought silently every day. Think about a man stuck in a dead-end job, exhausted but too afraid to change. His willpower isn't just lacking. It's been drained by years of small defeats, self-doubt, and settling for comfort. Nietzsche's will to power demands more than just trying harder. It demands transformation. This means seeing struggle not as punishment, but as fuel. It's about reframing failure as a stepping stone rather than a dead end. So when the voice inside whispers, "Give up," the will to power says, "Push harder." This isn't some motivational fluff. It's brutal honesty. Your biggest enemy is often your own mind. The fight is to reclaim control over your impulses, your doubts, your temptations. Mastering yourself requires relentless discipline, the kind that doesn't show off but quietly builds strength day after day. For example, resisting the urge to scroll endlessly through social media when you should be working or choosing discomfort, like cold showers or fasting, to train your mind. These small battles add up. The will to power also means taking full responsibility for your life. No blaming society, bad luck, or toxic people. Nietzsche's call is fierce. Own your circumstances and use them as a canvas to paint your greatness. That guy avoiding confrontation at work? Will to power means stepping up, even if it's uncomfortable. It means saying no to toxic friends or family members, even when guilt screams otherwise. It's about turning every struggle into a weapon for your growth. But here's the catch: the will to power is exhausting. It requires you to be honest about your weaknesses, to feel pain without running, and to keep going when most quit. That's why so many never reach it. They take the easy path, the path of least resistance. Yet, ironically, this easy path leads straight to a life of quiet desperation. Nietzsche warns that mediocrity is the reward for avoiding this battle, and it's a lifelong sentence unless you choose otherwise. If you're feeling stuck, it's probably because your will to power is asleep. Awakening it means facing the harsh reality that greatness demands sacrifice. It's about breaking the habit of instant gratification and replacing it with delayed rewards that compound over time. Imagine planting seeds of effort that bloom years later, not flashy wins but lasting power. This kind of willpower is invisible to most but undeniable in results. Here's a practical step: start small. Pick one habit that challenges you: waking up earlier, saying no to junk food, dedicating 10 minutes to deep work. These tiny acts of discipline are the front line of your will to power. Like a blacksmith hammering steel, every effort shapes your inner strength. The question is, will you fight or fade into the comfortable crowd? If this is hitting home, hit that subscribe button to keep uncovering truths like these. Subscribing means you'll never miss the tools to transform your life. But before you dive in, ask yourself, what's the real cost of giving up on your will to power? How much mediocrity are you willing to accept? How silent discipline breaks the cycle of mediocrity. Discipline doesn't need to shout. In fact, the quiet kind is often the most powerful. Nietzsche and the Stoics both agree, real strength grows in silence, far from the spotlight. It's those daily rituals, waking up before dawn, resisting that extra slice of pizza, sitting with discomfort instead of running away, that forge greatness. Picture a blacksmith hammering away in a dim workshop. Nobody's watching, but each strike shapes unbreakable steel. Most people chase quick wins and flashy achievements. They crave applause, likes, and instant validation. But silent discipline laughs at the crowd. It's the long game, the small acts nobody notices. For example, in the US corporate grind, resisting the urge to slack off during stressful deadlines, or in India, standing firm against family pressure to conform, quietly working towards your vision. These unnoticed choices add up, creating an invisible fortress of resilience. Delayed gratification is the secret sauce here. It's uncomfortable, sure. Choosing to read a dense philosophy book instead of binge-watching Netflix feels like punishment at first. But over time, these tiny sacrifices build a mental edge few have. Imagine planting a seed today that blooms into an oak years from now. That oak is your future self, rooted in the discipline you cultivate now. So why settle for weeds? Now, this isn't about perfection or rigidity. Silent discipline is flexible but fierce. It's about embracing discomfort without letting it break you. Cold showers, fasting, daily journaling. Even the act of showing up consistently, no matter how tired or uninspired, are practical ways to build this muscle. The goal? To keep moving forward when the world screams to stop. Remember the man who ignores his dreams because of fear? Silent discipline is what pulls him out of bed every morning whispering, "One more day. One more step." It doesn't promise immediate glory, but it guarantees progress. And progress, no matter how small, is the antidote to mediocrity. It's a slow burn that eventually ignites a fire no one can put out. Here's another angle. Silent discipline confuses manipulators. When you don't react to every provocation or demand, when you master your impulses, you become unpredictable and untouchable. Machiavelli praised this kind of power, the kind that disarms enemies without a word. In today's office politics or social media battles, this calm endurance is a secret weapon. It protects your rise while others self-destruct in the spotlight. So how do you start? Pick one daily ritual, maybe meditation, cold exposure, or writing down your goals, and commit to it for 30 days. No fanfare, no excuses. Watch how this small act reshapes your mindset, creating a ripple effect. As Nietzsche hinted, true power doesn't need to be loud, it just needs to be consistent. Will you be the silent blacksmith or the loud bystander? But here's the kicker. Silent discipline is only effective if you resist society's pressure to give up. And this leads us to a harsh truth: why society often wants you weak. Ready to uncover that? Why society wants you weak and how to resist. Society isn't your friend when it comes to strength and ambition. In fact, it often works against you subtly, or not so subtly, pushing you to stay small, compliant, and weak. Think about workplace politics in the US, where ambition can be seen as a threat. The quiet ladder climber gets overlooked, while the loudest conformist gets promoted. It's a game rigged to reward mediocrity and punish those who aim higher. This isn't just about bosses and co-workers. Toxic relationships, family expectations, even cultural stories feed this trap. In many Indian households, for instance, pressure to follow traditional paths, stable jobs, early marriage, often crushes the urge to break free. Nietzsche called this the herd mentality, where the collective enforces sameness. It's easier for society when you blend in, not stand out. The question is, how long will you let that cage hold you? Machiavelli knew this centuries ago. He warned rulers to keep potential threats weak and distracted. Fast forward to today, and the same plays unfold in subtle forms. Gossip that chips away at confidence, social media that numbs ambition, and cultural narratives glorifying comfort over challenge. These are the modern chains. Resisting means seeing these tactics for what they are, refusing to let them dictate your worth or path. Here's a practical example. Imagine a man constantly undermined at work by a passive-aggressive boss. Instead of reacting emotionally, he cultivates silent discipline, improving skills quietly, building networks behind the scenes. He doesn't give his enemies the satisfaction of watching him fall apart. Instead, he confuses them with calm persistence. That's resistance in action. Another example is family pressure. Picture a young man in India being pushed to settle for a safe career. Instead of exploding in rebellion, he starts small, learning online, creating side projects, saving money. His resistance is patient, strategic, almost invisible. This slow burn eventually breaks the mold, proving that strength can be quiet and persistent. The media also plays a role, selling comfort and distraction while demonizing ambition. Society celebrates instant gratification and mocks those who strive beyond the status quo. Resisting this means detoxing your mind, limiting social media, choosing content that challenges you, surrounding yourself with people who elevate rather than drain. It's a fight for your mental space. This pressure to stay weak isn't conspiracy, it's practical social control. Weak people are easier to manage, predict, and manipulate. Strong people, they disrupt the system. They don't just climb, they reshape the ladder. And that's exactly why society pushes back so hard. So, how do you hold your ground when the whole world tries to pull you down? From mediocrity to mastery, the transformation within. Transformation isn't flashy. It's not a sudden epiphany or overnight success. It's a quiet war waged deep inside, the slow dismantling of old habits, beliefs, and fears that keep you mediocre. Nietzsche's call isn't just to rise above the crowd, but to become a new kind of human, one forged by solitude, struggle, and self-overcoming. Imagine a sculptor chipping away at a marble block. Mastery emerges from what's removed, not what's added. This inner evolution is brutal. It demands rejecting the craving for approval that society teaches us early on. Think about the young man at a family dinner, feeling the weight of everyone's expectations, knowing that real greatness means disappointing them at times. That pain, that solitude, it's the crucible of power. We've all felt that sting. The isolation of going against the herd, the fear of being misunderstood or rejected. Mastery also means embracing your flaws and contradictions, not running from them. Carl Jung's shadow work reveals this truth. Greatness is impossible without facing your darkness. Imagine a warrior who ignores his wounds. He won't last long on the battlefield, but the one who learns from pain grows stronger. This transformation isn't about perfection, it's about authenticity. When you stop pretending, you start owning your power. There's a powerful metaphor here. Think of mediocrity as a shallow pond, calm but lifeless. Mastery is the deep ocean, vast, turbulent, full of hidden currents. It's uncomfortable, unpredictable, but alive. The man who chooses the ocean accepts the risk of storms because he knows the shallow pond offers no growth. Will you stay stuck in the quiet safety of the pond, or will you brave the waves? Practical steps to start this transformation? Begin with solitude. Carve out time daily to disconnect. No screens, no distractions. Journal your thoughts, confront uncomfortable feelings, and question your beliefs. The young professional overwhelmed by noisy city life can find clarity in morning meditation or long walks. These moments are where the self is reborn. Another example, a man overwhelmed by social expectations might start small by saying no to one demand a week. It's a rebellion, yes, but a strategic one. Every no chips away at the chains of conformity. Mastery is built through these tiny victories, unnoticed by the world, but monumental to the self. Rejecting external validation means learning to stand alone. Picture a man walking a solitary path through a dense forest, uncertain but resolute. No cheers, no applause, just his own footsteps. This solitude is where true power grows. Nietzsche's Übermensch isn't a social butterfly, but a solitary star burning bright in the night. So, what awaits beyond this struggle? Peace, authenticity, and a strength that no one can take away. But reaching this summit requires one thing: willingness to endure the loneliness and pain of transformation. Ready to learn how to keep this fire alive, long after the initial spark? Sustaining greatness, reflection as your secret weapon. Greatness isn't a one-time event. It's a relentless journey, a daily commitment to look inward and face what most run from. Nietzsche's will to power isn't just about achieving mastery, it's about holding on to it. Reflection and shadow work, inspired by Jung, become your secret weapons. Think of them as the daily sharpening of a blade. Without it, even the strongest sword dulls. Reflection is brutal honesty with yourself. It's the moment when you ask, where did I hold back today? What fear snuck in unnoticed? Imagine a CEO reviewing every decision, not to beat himself up, but to sharpen his strategy. This kind of self-examination is rare, and that's why few sustain greatness. Most slip back into comfort, lulled by the illusion of progress. Shadow work is about embracing those parts you'd rather hide, the guilt, the anger, the envy. It's uncomfortable, but ignoring these shadows only gives them power. Picture a man at a crossroads, choosing whether to keep running from his fears or finally face them head-on. Journaling is a powerful tool here. Write down your darkest thoughts without judgment. This practice rewires your mind, making discomfort less daunting over time. Daily rituals matter. Simple habits like meditation, cold showers, or morning reading aren't flashy but build resilience. Picture a soldier who trains every day, not for applause but for the battles he knows are coming. Delayed gratification becomes your ally. Resist the urge to check your phone, to binge watch, or seek easy pleasures. These small sacrifices fuel your inner power. Socially, sustaining greatness means setting boundaries fiercely. Toxic relationships and draining environments are silent killers of willpower. Remember Machiavelli's lesson: confusion is your shield. Keep your strength hidden, don't broadcast your progress. When manipulators don't know where your power lies, they lose their grip. It's a game of quiet strategy. Here's a practical challenge. Once a week, spend 15 minutes reviewing your wins and slips. Celebrate your growth, but don't ignore failures. This honest reckoning creates momentum. For the office worker drowning in politics, this practice builds clarity amidst chaos. For the man facing family pressures, it nurtures a grounded sense of self. Sustaining greatness is about becoming your own mentor, your own toughest critic, and your own greatest supporter. It's a balance that few master. But when you do, you step off the hamster wheel of mediocrity and enter a realm of authentic power and peace. This path isn't easy, but it's the only way to truly live free. So, how will you keep this fire burning? Will you let distractions snuff it out or fan the flames every day? The answer lies in your willingness to face yourself without excuses. So here we are. Most people will stay mediocre, not because they lack potential, but because they choose safety over risk, comfort over growth. Nietzsche didn't sugarcoat this truth. He warned us that the instinct to avoid pain, rejection, and failure chains us to a life half-lived. But what if you decided today that mediocrity isn't your destiny? What if you embraced the brutal challenge of becoming more than the herd? Remember, greatness isn't born from ease. It's forged in the quiet battles you fight every day, the moments you choose discipline over distraction, self-mastery over instant gratification. You've seen how society tries to keep you weak, how invisible forces feed your doubts and fears. But once you understand the game, you can play it on your own terms. You can build that silent strength that confuses manipulators and lifts you above the noise. Will you stay caged by comfort, or will you break free and claim your power? The path won't be easy. It demands reflection, shadow work, and relentless willpower. But it's the only path to authentic peace and true mastery of yourself. So here's your call to action. Subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications, and join a community that's rewriting the story of what's possible. And hey, if you're ready to break the chains, comment below with "I'm breaking free." You're not alone in this fight. Together, we'll keep uncovering the truths that set us apart from the mediocre masses. This is just the beginning. What will your next move be?